The bulldozers thundered outside the creaking wooden fence, their engines growling like predators waiting to strike, while men in neon vests shuffled nervously with papers that looked stamped and official. On the porch stood the old man, his body trembling with age, but his pride unshaken, weathered hands gripping the railing as he whispered hoarsely, "This is my home. I built it with these hands." His voice cracked, but his eyes carried the fire of 60 years spent on that ranch. The woman in charge, Karen, with her smug red lipstick and clipboard clutched like a weapon, didn't even meet his eyes. She flicked her wrist, waving the papers like a death sentence, barking, "Not anymore. The HOA owns this land now, and it's coming down today." The workers hesitated, tools hanging limp at their sides, unwilling to be the first to strike against a man whose wrinkles spoke of hard years, but whose spirit radiated defiance. Karen rolled her eyes, stepping forward, her heels sharp on the dirt, screaming, "Do it, or you're all fired." The old man's knees buckled, his grip on the railing tightening as his voice broke. 60 years. You can't just steal it. Karen's smirk deepened as she marched onto his porch, close enough that he could smell the perfume masking her arrogance. Inches from his face, she hissed, "Watch me." And just when it seemed the ranch would fall, the screech of tires shattered the silence. A black SUV whipped into the driveway, dust curling like smoke. The door slammed, boots hit the ground with military precision, and out stepped a tall figure in tactical gear. He moved with controlled fury, each stride heavy with purpose. No words, just the flash of a badge hanging from his belt. The entire site froze. Even the bulldozers went silent. Karen's practiced smile faltered for the first time. Her voice, once sharp, wavered. "And who exactly do you think you are?" The man stepped closer, towering over her like a shadow she couldn't escape, his voice cold as steel. "I'm his son. SWAT commander, and you just made the worst mistake of your life." Gasps rippled through the workers. Karen's face twitched, her clipboard shaking in her hands. I have the HOA orders," she stammered, but her confidence cracked. The SWAT son slid a phone from his jacket, his thumb flicking across the screen before holding it high. "Orders don't scare me. Evidence does." On the screen rolled hidden camera footage, weeks of threats, intimidation, harassment, all her poison exposed. The old man whispered, tears filling his tired eyes, "I didn't think anyone would believe me." His son gave him a reassuring nod. Karen's knees weakened as neighbors appeared at the fence line, some filming on their phones, some shouting, "She lied. He paid taxes here for decades." Karen's voice broke into a high-pitched whine. I was following orders." But no one moved to help her. The SWAT son's voice cut like a blade, threatening an old man, personating authority. "That's not orders. It's a crime." The workers shifted uneasily, realizing they had been pawns in her scheme. Karen's mask shattered, her bravado draining into fear. Then, from above, a drone buzzed. Live streaming the confrontation onto a massive screen, someone rolled into the yard. Every word, every sneer, every false command of hers, now immortalized in front of the entire community. The old man, shaking but rising taller than he had in years, lifted his chin and declared, "This is my land, my home, and you will leave." The crowd erupted in murmurs, the workers lowering their tools. The SWAT son stood beside him, hand steady on his father's shoulder, voice sharp. "And final, you've threatened this family for the last time. Step off this property or face the consequences." Karen's face burned crimson, her confidence gone, her fake authority collapsing under the weight of truth. She stumbled backward, clutching her phone like a lifeline, dialing frantically. "Hello! Backup, send backup now," she cried into the receiver, her words trembling. The SWAT son raised his hand, stopping her cold. "You don't need backup, you need the truth, and it just caught you." The crowd's whispers grew into shouts, the workers muttering, "I didn't sign up for this." Karen froze as the live footage blasted across the yard, exposing her corruption to everyone: workers, neighbors, even her fellow HOA board members who stood pale and silent. The old man stepped forward again, cane striking the porch like a gavel. His voice, once weak, now thundered. "I've survived wars, storms, and fire. You'll never scare me. Not today, not ever." The words cut through the air, heavy with decades of grit. At that moment, red and blue lights flashed down the driveway. A sheriff's cruiser pulled up, the officer stepping out with calm authority. "Ma'am," he said, his voice echoing, "you're under investigation for impersonating law enforcement and criminal trespass." Karen's jaw dropped. Her clipboard slipped from her hands, papers scattering like dead leaves. She tried to protest, but the officer's stare silenced her. The SWAT son crossed his arms, his tone steady. "Justice isn't revenge. It's protecting what's right." The old man sank into his porch chair, exhaustion finally overtaking him, but his heart lighter than it had been in years. Neighbors broke into applause, some crying, some cheering, the ranch alive with triumph. Karen was escorted to the cruiser, her arrogance stripped away, her power exposed as nothing but lies. The bulldozers sat abandoned, silent witnesses to her downfall. The SWAT son knelt beside his father, showing him the phone. "We got everything. Every threat, every lie. They'll never touch you again." The old man chuckled weakly. "Never thought my boy would turn up like this. Like a hero." His son smiled faintly. "You raised me to fight for what's right. Today, the world saw it." A little girl tugged at her father's sleeve, whispering, "Daddy, I want to be brave like him." The old man's eyes glistened as he whispered back, "You already are, sweetheart." The golden sunset spilled across the ranch, turning the wooden fences into monuments of resilience. But just as peace settled, another car pulled up, a sleek black sedan. A lawyer stepped out, his expression grim, a thick folder under his arm. "Gentlemen," he said, opening the file on the hood of his car, "Karen isn't finished. She's filing lawsuits against the HOA, against the ranch ownership. She's coming for everything." The old man's hands shook, but his son's eyes burned cold. "Funny," he muttered, pulling up court submission apps on his phone. "She's trying to fight truth with lies. And this time, she just declared war on herself." He pressed send. Every video, every threat, every document is now in the county's hands. She won't survive this. The lawyer froze, staring at the flood of evidence streaming into the system. His voice dropped, almost a whisper. This could destroy her. And for the first time, the old man knew the fight was no longer survival, it was victory.